Hello everyone and welcome to my CS24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island season finale, Money Pit dive, gemstone revelations, and quit or continue time. The Curse of Oak Island season 5 ends on an exciting note tonight, as the finale sees the team send a diver down the DMT shaft in a bid to finally identify the obstruction they have hit in the Money Pit. The episode will also see more details revealed about the red gemstone brooch discovered by metal-detecting expert Gary Drayton last episode, and the Oak Island team will face their biggest decision of the season, whether to continue the hunt or throw in the towel and quit. Preview footage at the end of last week's episode showed diver Mike Huntley being lowered down into the DMT shaft's 60 inches caisson on this week's episode to try and identify the obstruction they hit earlier in the season, and saying over the radio, "It's kind of wide like a plate." Jack Begley was also shown telling Rick Lagina as the dive was taking place, "We've found something, Rick." The sneak peek at the end of last week's episode also showed Gary Drayton telling the team that the gemstone he found last episode, which was thought could possibly be a ruby, was identified by a gemologist as being 500 years old. If correct, that would mean it would date from the 1500s. A third scene showed the Oak Island team sitting round the table in the so-called war room with all the discoveries from Season 5 laid out in front of them, as longtime treasure hunter Dan Blankenship said, "Oak Island is for real." Marty Lagina then joked with Dave Blankenship, who has regularly let it be known that he's keen to find something gold and shiny on the island, saying, "A lot of this looks spendable, David." Marty then suggested the team celebrated, as Dan Blankenship added, "There's treasure on Oak Island." A more recent trailer showed further footage of the DMT dive taking place, with Rick saying, "There's something down there." He added, "We're going to get real answers. What is down there and can we get it out?" Marty Lagina was then shown saying, "It's a very significant find," while Craig Tester added via video link, "It's huge." The episode description for the finale reveals that it also shows the team deciding whether to continue the search for another year. Monsters and critics told last week how we believe a Season 6 of The Curse of Oak Island is likely, but more information will be revealed tonight. The description for tonight's episode, Amazing Discoveries, reads, "It's the season finale and the moment of truth for the Fellowship of the Dig, as the guys are faced with the burning question, quit or continue? What time is the Curse of Oak Island season finale?" Tonight's Season 5 finale of The Curse of Oak Island will air at 9/8C, with the premiere of The Curse of Civil War Gold, featuring a hunt for $140 million of gold bullion believed to be at the bottom of Lake Michigan, an hour later at October 9C. After that, a short sneak peek of next week's Drilling Down episode will be shown. The Drilling Down episode, titled The Puzzle Takes Shape, airs next Tuesday, March 13th at 8/7C. The chill of late autumn settled across Oak Island as the sun slid low over Mahone Bay, casting a golden shimmer across the restless waters. For the Lagina brothers and their crew, this wasn't just another day on the island, it was the day. Months of drilling, sifting, digging, and theorizing had led to the season finale, a moment when the Money Pit would be tested like never before. The drilling rig hummed, the caisson teeth biting into centuries of earth, stone, and mystery. At the edge of the platform, Rick Lagina stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the dark shaft that descended into legend. He had always been the philosophical one, the man who saw Oak Island as much as a story of human determination as it was a pursuit of treasure. Still, even Rick's heartbeat quickened at the thought of what they might finally touch today. Beside him, Marty paced with the nervous energy of an engineer who wanted results, and wanted them now. "We've put in millions," he muttered, watching the crane lower the diving chamber. "And for what? A few scraps of metal, some wood fragments. If there isn't something substantial today, something real, I don't know how much longer we can justify it." The Money Pit had been both generous and cruel this season. Her samples had pulled up fragments of worked metal that seemed out of place. Layers of wood suggested elaborate tunnels. But the real jolt of hope had come from a glittering discovery, a handful of uncut gemstones pulled from the spoils of a wash plant. They weren't diamonds in the polished sense, but gemologists had confirmed their authenticity. Emeralds, garnets, and even what appeared to be a fragment of sapphire. Where had they come from? Some theorists whispered of the Knights Templar, their treasures scattered across Europe and possibly spirited away to the New World. Others pointed to Spanish galleons, the riches of the Caribbean stolen and buried by desperate privateers. Either way, gemstones on Oak Island were a revelation, evidence that treasure wasn't just rumor, but tangible. Now, as the divers prepared, the crew gathered at the edge of the money pit. Charles Barkhouse leaned over a set of maps, cross-referencing the shaft coordinates with archival drawings of the island. Gary Drayton, the metal-detecting maverick, cradled one of the emeralds in his hand like a sacred relic. "This is the real deal, lads," he said in his familiar British lilt. "No way this just happened to be here. Someone went to great pains to stash it." The crane creaked, and the chamber sank lower, chains rattling. A diver named Brad, chosen for his expertise with confined, flooded shafts, suited up and nodded once before disappearing into the darkness. The radio crackled. "Visibility's low. Silt everywhere," Brad reported. The team clustered around the monitors, watching the grainy feed from his helmet camera. Shadows swirled, water clouding. Then there it was. A glint. Not metal. Something else. Brad steadied himself, brushing away sediment with a gloved hand. The camera captured a cluster of stones embedded in the muck, their facets catching the faint light. "I'm looking at gemstones. More than one." His voice was steady, but the weight of the words sent a ripple of shock through the team above. The feed crackled again. "And wait, there's woodwork here. Looks like timbers cut, shaped, almost like a chest that's been smashed apart." The group erupted in a storm of voices. Rick's hand shot up. "Quiet." The tension was thick enough to slice. "Brad, bag what you can, but be careful. No reckless moves." For minutes that stretched into eternity, the crew waited. Finally, the chamber rose, chains squealing as it breached the surface. Brad emerged, drenched but triumphant. In his satchel, he revealed a small cluster of uncut gemstones, flecked with silt but undeniable in their beauty. And from the bottom of the satchel, he pulled a shard of wood, its edges squared by tools, not nature. The moment was electric. Proof that something extraordinary lay within the money pit. But alongside triumph came the reckoning. As they gathered in the war room that evening, maps, stones, and samples spread before them. The weight of reality bore down.